Trump and his allies have been indicted over their alleged efforts to overturn 2020 electoral results in Georgia. If it's true, all such matters must be investigated and those guilty charged, especially in Georgia. Hello there, you 6.5 million awakening wonders. Thanks for joining us on this historic day when the investigation into Trump continues to escalate. And we have to ask, is this about criminal activity by Trump and his associates, or is it about punishing a prominent contender in the 2024 presidential campaign? Now, Trump is accused of some pretty serious things. And together today, while this story continues to break, we're going to analyze some of the details together and significantly look at that kind of conduct historically. For example, in Georgia, Stacey Abrams once publicly said she disagreed with the results of an election. Historically, the Democrats have been involved in manipulating the outcomes of elections. Let's have a look at this story in particular and what is implicit within this story about systemic corruption historically elsewhere by both parties.
A Georgia grand jury returned 10 indictments Monday night in the case which centers around former President Donald Trump's alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election in Fulton County. It's their barriers and police remained outside as jurors heard from multiple witnesses, including former Georgia Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan.
There's been a lot of misinformation for a number of years.
Notice the use of the word misinformation and disinformation. Even beyond the confines of this story, these terms are becoming popularized as centralized and authoritarian structures attempt to control narratives. Narrative and manipulation are somewhat synonymous. Whenever you report on a story, you have to present a perspective. Otherwise, in any electoral fraud or any political matter, you would have to somehow encompass all of American history. How did we get to this point? What political, state, corporate, financial interests have intersected to bring us to this point? Which aspects of this story are about systemic failure? Which aspects of this story are individual failings? Misinformation and disinformation are terms that have been contrived in order to favor some stories and relegate other stories, in the same way that Donald Trump coined the term fake news. And just to be explicit, or as explicit as I'm capable of being, we have no strong view on whether or not Donald Trump is the solution to your problems. I know a lot of you think he is an outlier and a berserker, a bull in the china shop of corruption that's going to bring justice. And I know some people absolutely detest Donald Trump. Our view is this: the system itself is corrupt, and we are going to show you how the system itself is corrupt. Even in events like this, which are presented to you as egregious and outstanding, there are comparisons. Stacey Abrams in Georgia contested the results of an election. She said these results must be fraudulent. The whole Russiagate scandal that dogged Trump throughout his presidency had no basis. It was designed to disrupt Trump, and it had no basis in fact. So right there, you have as a composite everything that we're discussing right now, egregious though it would be if it's proven to be true.
The case also features a phone call with Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, who Trump called to seek votes.
I just want to find 11,780 votes.
The exact number that Trump needed to win the state, and despite investigations and facing multiple indictments, Trump remains the 2024 Republican frontrunner.
That's Trump's fourth indictment. As he himself joked, one more indictment and I'll have this election sewn up. The framing of Trump as an anti-establishment figure seems to be doing nothing to dent his appeal. In fact, it amplifies its appeal. Why is it that we're so cynical about the state, so cynical about the media, so tired of its systems of propaganda when someone seems to represent anti-establishment sentiment and anti-establishment feeling, but we like them more? Let's have a look. As Republicans in Congress prepared to formally contest the outcome of the 2020 presidential election, many of them cited precedent for their effort, similar complaints lodged by Democrats in other presidential elections. After Republican victories in 2000, 2004, and 2016, for instance, Democrats in Congress used the formal counting of electoral votes as an opportunity to challenge election results. So when it comes to challenging the formal outcome of a result, there is precedent for this. It happens all the time. All of us remember incidents, and perhaps more importantly, looking forward, whatever the outcome of the 2024 election, election, can you imagine that the Democrats are going to go, oh, well done, Donald Trump won fair and square, or oh, Joe Biden won fair and square? It's over now, isn't it? We're not reading the symptoms of what's happening. I think that now politics has become so sectarian, the machine has cracked apart, and there is no way, I believe, of bringing it together using the existing models, the existing parties, the existing discourse. We have to acknowledge that now there is division. Now there is so much anti-establishment sentiment. There is so much sectarian discourse that it's impossible to imagine that there could be an election where the other side's just going to tip their hat and say, congratulations, now how can we all get on and run this country together? It appears there's been so much antipathy roused, so much condemnation, so much contempt for the other side from both sides. So I guess we're all culpable in one way or another. It's impossible to imagine an election that brings people together. And there's a long history for contesting the results of an election. So that aspect is not particularly unique. Democrats who wish to question or challenge election results in the future should be cautious. Some might remember when Democratic gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams denied her own election defeat. We had this little election back in 2018, she said, and despite the final tally and the inauguration and the situation we find ourselves in, I have one very affirmative statement to make: we won. Is that so different from what Donald Trump has publicly said? Now, indeed, if he has said we need to find 12,000 votes from somewhere, that does seem to be an advance on Stacey Abrams' condition. There's no tape of her saying we need 12,000 votes. But there's so little trust in authority. It's not like they're able to say, look at Donald Trump saying that. We give you our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. No, it's we give you Joe Biden, or we give you Hillary Clinton, both of whom appear to be involved in financial corruption, nepotism, having foundations that take donations from weapons companies, but were involved directly in the case of Hillary Clinton in the Russiagate hoax, is one word that's used to describe it. So do you not see that part of the problem is you can't hold up anyone who, when you ring that bell, it rings true? They're all cracked vessels. They're all unreliable. All the while that these indictments stack up, there's a significant percentage of the population that are going, what about Joe Biden's involvement in Hunter Biden's business? What about this Burisma stuff? And instead of addressing it, they're going, no, fake news, misinformation, Donald Trump. So how can you be surprised that the other side are saying these indictments simply prove that Trump is an anti-establishment figure? Hillary Clinton, when she's on mainstream media, doesn't say, look, let me just say from the outset, that Russiagate thing made us all look appalling. So maybe I should get my own house in order before even commenting on this. We know that the Democrats continually deny the results of elections because they don't do that, because they're like, oh, we can't admit to that, that makes us look bad. Or what they're continually selling is, we're a bit better than you. Not even mediocre and not fraudulent, just fraudulent in a different way. You decide for yourselves which type of fraudulence you find most egregious and offensive. That's what it seems to boil down to. Let me know in the comments if you agree. Lest there be any doubt, Abrams continued, the election was stolen, could be Trump, and that it was not a free or fair election, she told the New York Times. I won, she claimed. Georgia's election laws were rigged. So whatever the Democrats say during the indictment of Donald Trump, they can't say, we would never do anything like this. They'd have to say, we do things a bit like this, but we think what you did's worse than that. Here's Stacey Abrams at that time addressing that issue so we can compare for ourselves.
So let's be clear. This is not a speech of concession. Because concession means to acknowledge an action is right, true, or proper. As a woman of conscience and faith, I cannot concede that. But my assessment is the law currently allows no further viable remedy. In the coming days, we will be filing a major federal lawsuit against the state of Georgia for the gross mismanagement of this election and to protect future elections from unconstitutional actions. We will channel the work of the past several weeks into a strong legal demand for reform of our election systems in Georgia.
In order to deliver on what Stacey Abrams suggested is required, you would need a true reckoning and an honest analysis and admission around what both parties have said subsequent to electoral results. Russiagate hoax doesn't look good, does it? That they conceived of and proliferated an untrue hoax in order to destabilize Trump's administration. The keeping of the Hunter Biden laptop stuff out of the news because it could have influenced the outcome of the election. And when Vivek Ramaswamy came on our show, he said the election was stolen. by big tech, he was very careful to say. Big tech censored information that was not favourable to Trump's campaign. I suppose the question we're offering you is this. We don't really, to tell you the truth, care if you really like Donald Trump or don't like Donald Trump, because in a sense, both of these phenomena are temporal. Institutions themselves, well, on the deepest level, are also temporal, are subject to a deeper type of corruption. Unless we amend and address the things that both parties do when it's convenient to them, then how can we change the system? All it amounts to is, I happen to like this politician and this political party, and I dislike this politician and this political party. So I'll amend what I think is reasonable and fair on that basis. That's not principles, that's not values, that's why we're in this mess, because people are continually in conflict, because everyone's shifting the dials based on the outcome that they would prefer. We're trying to be impartial, transparent, and report on all sides of the story as best as we can with our own biases. Can you imagine how hard it is for us to find sponsors? Let me tell you, it's bloody hard. That's why when we find good sponsors, we hold on to them and we support them with everything we've got, like these guys coming up. And it's worth watching because I always try and make it funny. Stay with us, baby. Let us know in the comments if it's a product you're interested in and if you had a real laugh watching it. We are proud and grateful to introduce Ridge. This is the only wallet you're ever going to need, ever, because Ridge have teamed up with Hennessy for a summer sweepstake where you could win a brand new Hennessy 4 Bronco or 75 grand in cash. You can enter on the Ridge website without spending a single dollar, but you also get one bonus entry for every dollar spent. And if you use my link in the description below, ridge.com/Russell, you'll get 10% off your purchase and 10 bonus entries at checkout. Ridge wallets come in more than 30 colours and different styles and ways of being a wallet, and they remain slim enough to avoid a nasty case of BPS. That's bulging pocket syndrome. And check out the Ridge key case. These are designed to securely hold up to 6 keys. It's like a Swiss Army knife. There won't be no jangling where you're jangling about while you do your sinister creep. And if you order both a wallet and a key case, you get 30% off your order. So get involved in this massive summer sweepstake for a chance to win a Hennessy 4 Bronco or $75,000 in pure cash. And use my link below, ridge.com/Russell, to save up to 10% on any purchase. Now, back to that fantastic content. Let's put down these slim, sexy objects from Ridge and get back to telling you the truth about the effing system. If only Ridge made governments, hey guys?
All over the country right now, people are wondering what Hillary Rodham Clinton is thinking watching things unfold in Georgia.
When this story broke, MSNBC and their friends in the mainstream media knew that they would need an impartial voice that had never had their own name muddied in electoral rigging, fraudulence, construction of hoaxes, or all sorts of out-there conspiracy theories. So here for you now, live on MSNBC, is your friend and mine, Hillary Clinton. Hillary, give us your impartial opinion.
She is the former Democratic presidential nominee, U.S. Senator from New York and Secretary of State. I should tell you, she has a new essay out in The Atlantic on the well-being of Americans and our democracy. It's called The Weaponization of Loneliness.
Like, Hillary Clinton can't just be introduced as if she is a universally adored political grandee. Hillary Clinton coined the term basket of deplorables. Her work in the Clinton Foundation seems dubious. Her involvement in numerous potentially criminal wars has been demonstrated. She is an establishment politician. She is the epitomization of the static, turgid politics that has led to the rise of figures like Donald Trump. She is the kind of career politician that the majority, I would say, of American voters are tired of, no longer trust. But look at the relationship between Clinton and the mainstream. Pretty cozy, isn't it? That's Trump on Breitbart right there.
Madam Secretary, fancy meeting you here.
Oh, I
It's really
can't
nice having you
believe
here.
this.
Yeah, this is not the circumstances in which I expected to be talking to you.
Nor me, Rachel.
Like, I've never seen Hillary Clinton say, listen, Russiagate was wrong, right? I've never seen Rachel Maddow say, by the way, I'm going to update you on some of those medications that I said if you take them, it stops there, it can't be spread. The fact is, the moral authority of the two people here having this conversation has been compromised and never addressed. My feeling is that if you want to legitimately condemn Donald Trump or speak out on electoral fraud, you have to come from a position of, these are the things that I've done that are incorrect. This is how I'm going to amend that path. This is what we should do in the future. Not just, I happen to like you and I don't like them.
Rachel, it's always good to talk to you.
Because we agree with each other on everything and we're never going to challenge each other on anything.
Honestly, I didn't think that it would be under these circumstances. Yet another set of indictments.
Imagine if Rachel Maddow just went, look, just to clear it up, what was that Russiagate hoax stuff? Tell me exactly how the Clinton Foundation works. How do you feel about the deaths of Iraqi children after there were no weapons of mass destruction found? What do you say about the donations taken by your foundation from Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, etc., and the subsequent appointments and breaks that have been given to organisations that have financial ties to the Clinton Foundation? If they had an honest conversation, maybe we could trust them a little more, but they're not going to have that conversation. And I'm not condemning them for that. I'm just saying that's why you have a divided nation. That's why every time Trump gets indicted, some people go, good, I like him more, because you're not offering any kind of alternative. You're offering, again, what they've already rejected. How about this? How about a really old version? People don't want career politicians. And when someone like RFK rises up in the party, who no doubt is a political aristocrat by virtue of his surname, but in terms of his rhetoric around the deep state, the military-industrial complex, a reckoning around what happened in the last 3 years, he's an alternative figure. They silence him. They crush him. They don't offer him close protection. Even Bernie Sanders a few cycles ago, that party decided we'd rather lose with Clinton than win with Bernie.
Do you feel satisfaction in that?
God, this is a hard question. What's it like to feel like you're right and that you're winning something? As long as no one gets to vote on it, of course, then you generally lose.
You warned the country, essentially, that he was going to try to end democracy, but most of the country didn't believe you.
Well, it's hard to believe. I don't feel any satisfaction. I feel great.
Just end the sentence there.
Just great, profound sadness. He set out to defraud the United States of America and the citizens of our nation. But I don't know that anybody should be satisfied. This is a terrible moment for our country to have a former president accused of these terribly important crimes. The only satisfaction may be that the system is working.
Yeah, the system's working. You're enjoying your life, right? You're enjoying the forever wars, happy where your taxes are going, happy with the deterioration of your cities, happy with the Democrat Party. The system is working. Phew, conversation over.
That all of the efforts by Donald Trump, his allies, and his enablers to try to silence the truth, to try to undermine democracy, have been brought into the light, and justice is being pursued.
Did any of us think for a moment that if Donald Trump is indicted and imprisoned, that everything's going to be okay? Because do you remember that the people that are offering you that as a solution are the people that told you that if Biden was elected, everything was going to be okay? Is everything okay? Let me know in the comments. Here are some subjects that didn't come up in Maddow and Clinton's chat. When Hillary Clinton lost to Trump in 2016, her campaign crafted the Russiagate narrative, which fueled a vast conspiracy within the government to clamp down on freedom of expression on social media. We are still uncovering the extent and lasting effects that Clinton's election denial has had on this country. If the establishment has a face, it is the face of Hillary Clinton. And all the while we argue that it's good that women in politics are progressing, we have to similarly address the fact that in many ways she is the most institutional, globalist, corporatist politician that party could present us with. So why is it significant that she's commenting on this subject? What can we say about Hillary Clinton? Hillary Clinton personally approved her campaign's plans in fall 2016 to share information with a reporter about an uncorroborated alleged server back channel between Donald Trump and a top Russian bank. Her campaign manager testified in federal court. In September 2021, a lawyer for Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign was indicted on charges of lying to the FBI in a 2016 meeting where he shared information about the Trump organization and Russia. I think many of us suspect that if Joe Biden were investigated with the intrepidness, ferocity, and fastidiousness that Trump is currently being investigated with, they would uncover corruption. And similarly, Hillary Clinton. How would, if her lawyer that she personally approved a plan for has been indicted, how would she avoid indictment, arraignment, accusation? The general feeling is these people aren't any better. these people are corrupt, until you deal with that problem, until you create some moral authority based on consensus, transparency, clarity, openness, willingness, until you're able to do that, it's just going to be two fortified sides and people pitching, well, which argument's going to win so that our cartel can be in charge. No one's offering you any kind of real improvement. They can't. The system won't allow it. There are two reasons the Clinton story isn't a bigger one in the public consciousness. One is admitting the enormity of what took place would require system-wide admissions by the FBI, the CIA, and virtually every major news media organization in America. They can't address it because it would unravel the system itself. Far easier to nominate one villain who, even if they are convicted of wrongdoing, there's a public sense that it's the kind of wrongdoing that all of these figures are engaged with, but they just haven't been caught yet. Any criminal will tell you, what you in here for, mate? Got caught. The Clinton campaign created and fueled a successful years-long campaign of official harassment and media fraud. They innovated an extraordinary trick using government connections and press to generate real criminal and counterintelligence investigations of political enemies, mostly all based on what we now know to be self-generated nonsense. They generated some nonsense and then conducted criminal investigations based on nonsense that they knew wasn't true. That is fraudulent, right? There she is there, talking on the TV as if she's part of the solution, laughing and joshing with Rachel Maddow. That's the problem. You're making it, this is what led to it. It's not like Donald Trump, everything was perfect. Remember how everything was perfect? Oh yeah, it was great, wasn't it? And then bloody Donald Trump. No. The world has mostly moved on since Russiagate was 30 or 40 current things ago. But the public prosecution of the collusion theory was a daily preoccupation of national media for years. Yeah, it went on and on and on. We were always reading about it. The amnesia that we all suffer from now is part of the problem, isn't it? We can't, oh God, yeah, it was the pandemic, that was crazy. Oh yeah, Russiagate, that was crazy. Oh yeah, the laptop. Oh God, I can't keep up with this. We're in a delirium of too much, literally too much information. A substantial portion of the population believed the accusations and expected the story would end with Donald Trump in jail or at least indicted. No wonder people are cynical about it. No wonder people look at this and go, oh, this is, like some people will go, they're just making this up, right? I bet some of you in the comments are saying that. This isn't true. Who knows what he was saying when he goes, get them 11,000 votes? How's it different from what Stacey Abrams said? How's it different from what Hillary Clinton has done? Are you saying there's no way that that's a legitimate perspective? Clinton and her campaign systematically lied throughout, both about collusion and about their involvement in disseminating popular theories about it. We know this for a fact. In March 2022, the Democratic National Committee and the Clinton campaign agreed to pay a $113,000 fine to the Federal Election Commission for concealing their role in producing the Steele research, a role, by the way, her campaign never admitted to and which was only disclosed through dogged effort by the House Intelligence Committee nearly a year after the 2016 election. Many people think that Hillary Clinton can only go on TV and say stuff like that because there haven't been thorough enough investigations. Let me know in the comments if that's what you think. This is not just misinformation, it's the most sophisticated kind of disinformation, an intentionally false story spread with an official imprimatur. So the problem with today's arraignment and indictment of Donald Trump and his associates, did they meddle with the election? Have they committed election fraud? Are they racketeering out there trying to find more votes? Is whether it's true or not, it's not entirely unprecedented. There are aspects of it that are unique, which if proven are definitely well off key. But when most people think that the system itself is corrupt, that figures like Clinton are corrupt, that what Stacey Abrams said is comparable, that the Biden business dealings are dubious, we have such a mess, such a maelstrom of misinformation, disinformation, propaganda, manipulation, campaigning and lying that essentially you've got to choose your poison. They deserve to have no moral authority. The more they accuse Trump of wrongdoing, whether it's true or not, people just like him more. They're preaching to the converted. They're not conducting any kind of investigation into their own conduct. They're not willing to offer any alternatives. So essentially, their problems are of their own making. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments below? If you enjoyed this video, stay with us and watch either of these. Turn on the notification bell and subscribe right now. We need your continued support. Remember, we make a show every single day on the other place. Check us out over there. But more important than any of that, if you can, if they'll let you, please stay free.